Lesson 5.5, we're going to be learning about the quadratic formula. Oh man, this thing is awesome. So maybe we should write down our quadratic formula here in our notes. It is negative b plus or minus. We're going to have those two answers, so you get two answers out of this just like you normally would. So plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Excellent. There we go. Get that written down. Let's try an example. Got our quadratic formula over there on the right so we can reference it. And over here on the left we have a quadratic equation. And what do you think we need to do first if we're going to try and solve this quadratic equation? That's absolutely right. Nice job. We're going to have to set it equal to 0. You guys are so smart. Way to go. So I add 3 to both sides and I end up getting 2x squared minus 6x plus 3 equals 0. Now I can identify my a, b, and c. Let's write down our a, b, and c. I'm going to have a equals 2, b equals negative 6, and c equals 3. Remember how I said it was very important that we know how to identify those? Well, there you go. When it's set equal to 0, we can identify our a, b, and c from that left-hand side. Now we can just go ahead and plug and chug. So we have negative and then negative 6 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so negative 6 squared. Make sure you put that in parentheses. A common mistake is to forget that this should be in parentheses, and then when they square it, you get a negative 36, because your calculator doesn't know any better. You got to put it in parentheses there if you're plugging it in your calculator. Times, what's that, 4 times 2 times 3, all over 2 times a, which is 2. So that's what x equals. Now I need to go ahead and simplify. And I'm asked for exact solutions and also approximate solutions to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to have 2 exact and 2 approximate solutions here. Well, negative is going to give me a positive 6 plus or minus. And 6 squared is 36. All right, negative 6 times negative 6 gives me positive 36 minus 4 times 2 times 3. Now what I like to do is this. I look at this negative sign here, and I see that these are both positive, so I know I'm going to have a negative here. If I have another negative in one of these two numbers, I know it's going to be positive, and I write that sign down right away. I don't worry about it later. All I do is I figure out what's my sign going to be here, and then I multiply the numbers like they're all positive. All right? We'll try another example of that later on when we end up having a couple negatives. So we have 4 times 2 times 3, so that's 8 times 3 gives me 24. All over 2 times 2, which is 4. All right, we're getting closer here. Let's keep moving. So we have x equals 6 plus or minus the square root of, I had a college professor who used to sound like Count Dracula when he talked. He'd say, square root of. It's awesome. So I'm going to do that from now on. And we get 12 inside the square root all over 4. Let's bring it up here. Let's simplify a little more. We got x equals 6 plus or minus. Now what can I do to break down that 12? Well, I could break it down into 4 and 3. The square root of 4 is 2, so I can bring that 2 out. Then I have the square root of 3, and then all that over 4. And some of you might be thinking, because I know you love to think, this 6, this 2, and this 4 are all divisible by 2. Could I simplify that? Absolutely. So I have 3 plus or minus, well 2 divided by 2 is just 1, so we're left with the square root of 3, all over 2. And there's our final exact answer. 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 over 2. Now remember, this right here is like one term. 2 times the square root of 3. So if I can simplify one of the outside numbers with that 2 with that 4, we can do that. All right? So that's totally legal. These are not Facebook official. Remember, these guys are in an open relationship, so you can cancel with these two. Okay? With the plus or the minus, you got to make sure everything can be reduced the same way, which in here we can divide everything by 2. Awesome. Now let's get our exact answers. We're going to have to plug in 3 plus the square root of 3 over 2, and 3 minus the square root of 3 over 2. All right, make sure you have 3 plus the square root of 3 in parentheses divided by 2. So in your calculator, it should look something like this. 3 plus the square root of 3, all in parentheses, divided by 2, and that's going to give you one of your approximate answers. And you'll do the same thing here, but with a minus sign for the second one. So let's get those two. So for this one here, I end up getting 366. So if I'm going to go to the nearest, or 10th, I'm going to end up having 2.4. One decimal place. So that 3 gets rounded up by that 6 to a 4. And then for the one where it's minus the square root of 3, I end up getting 0.633. So I end up having 0.6 or 0.6 if you like to put the 0 out front there. Because that 3 can't round up that 6 to a 7. So there's our two approximate answers. These right here are the two exact answers because I have 3 plus the square root of 3 over 2 and 3 minus the square root of 3 over 2. And I'm all done. Make sure you look to simplify if possible.